Hi, everybody. Uh, we're gonna chat for a minute or two because as people are coming in, it's kind of filling up. So we would like to first of all welcome you to our webinar tonight. And for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Jeff Sturman, and I am the president of Best Cruises and Tours and our Alaska brand, which is cruises2alaska.com. And let me introduce our co-hostesses for today's presentation. We have Lindblad's Vice President of National Accounts, Miss Lisa Bain, and also our Lindblad's Regional Sales Manager, Becky Helms. And hello, Lisa and Becky.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Okay, we are good. A little cold because, as you can see, we're right in front of the glaciers and the icebergs, so it's a little nippy here in New Jersey, but we'll muddle on through. So, okay, so excuse me. First of all, most importantly, I want to thank you for taking the time this evening to attend our Lindblad Expedition Cruises Alaska webinar. So just a little bit of housekeeping. If you have a question, please use the chat button at the bottom of the screen, and you can type in the questions anytime, and we might be able to answer them on the spot, or we'll wait until our webinar is done, but we will answer every single question. And tomorrow, you guys are going to get an email from us with links to everything we're about to go over. It will include pricing, departure dates, and details about the special offers and our contact information and more. So for those of you who don't know us that well, Best Cruises and Tours is a family-owned travel agency. We've sent over 125,000 of your friends and neighbors on vacations all over the world. And quietly, we are one of the largest volume independent travel agencies in the state. We're members of the Better Business Bureau. We're rated A+, and we enjoy top producer status with most of the major cruise lines and travel suppliers. But our most important endorsements come from our thousands of satisfied clients. Our number one source of new business is repeat clients and their referrals, and we are successful because of our dedicated commitment to service. Our Cruises to Alaska brand has been a huge part of our success. We have sent thousands of guests on Alaska cruises and cruise tours on what I'm going to call the big ship experience. So just for next week, I will be escorting 76 guests on an Alaska cruise tour with nights on land and 7 nights on a 3,000 passenger ship. That's exactly not what we're here to talk about today. We're here today to talk about exploring Alaska's coastal wilderness, including Glacier Bay National Park, on purpose-built expedition ships with a total capacity of 100 guests. If I was joking with the girls, the lifeboats on the big ships hold 150 guests. So this is a totally different experience we're going to talk about today.
Yep.
Our guests that have taken this cruise do not stop raving about the experience. So actually, without any further ado, I will turn this meeting over to Lisa.
Wonderful, Jeff. Thank you so much. And I think before we start talking, I want to share just a little bit of a feeling of what it's like to go to Alaska with Lindblad.
What? Here we go!
So before I get started, I kind of want to share a little bit about the depth of Lindblad Expeditions and where we started. So we were actually founded by a gentleman by the name of Lars Erik Lindblad. Back in the 50s, he was an explorer in his own right. And Lars Erik realized very early on that a lot of the places he was exploring were suffering from habitat loss and wildlife loss back in the 50s. And he wanted to figure out a way to take people and impassion them so that they would return as a voice for the preservation of those places. And so he realized he had to take people. And so the first ever expedition to Antarctica was held by Lars Erik Lindblad in 1966. Think about that. It's not that long ago. Before that, it was really just scientists that were traveling to the Great White Continent. But he took those first guests in 66. And the following year, he took the very first guests to the Galapagos, and he continued to take people to these remarkable places and share them, and created a community of like-minded guests who wanted to see and protect these places. And since then, with his son Sven Lindblad at the helm of the company, we have grown to cover all 7 continents. So where the water touches land, and there is an opportunity for us to educate, to impassion, to protect cultures and wildlife, then you'll find Lindblad Expeditions National Geographic. It's really cool because we have an alliance with the National Geographic Society. And what that means is we bring with us their knowledge, their passion, access to their photographers and special speakers, and just that knowledge in the background of the places we explore. But it also means that we can help support their scientists and researchers and provide funding for them to go deeper into the places. And our ships act as access to these places for their scientific team. So it is the perfect synergy of relationships. And I love this comment from Sven Lindblad. We've been exploring Alaska for over 40 years. And when he thinks back to those first visits in float planes and trying to figure out where we were going to be able to take our ships, how we were going to explore this remarkable region and really showcase it. For us, Alaska is not about shopping. It's not about going into town with 3,000 of your newest, dearest friends. For us, it's really about avoiding other people and being in places where really we are, and we're not seeing anyone else except perhaps local watercraft. And how do we do it? Well, the key difference for us is you've got to think of small ship expedition like you think of a safari, because that's what we are. We are safari at sea, that we brought those principles. Sven Lindblad was a photographer in East Africa, and he said, okay, how do we bring this ethos of exploration to the ships? And that was morning and afternoon game drives. It was having a photography as an option for guests to learn. It was having guest speakers that could illuminate and share and have you learn about the places you were seeing. And so we have ornithologists, botanists, marine biologists, biologists. On one of our trips to Alaska a couple of years ago, I was with a lovely woman who has a PhD in lichen and moss. Alaska is not just the big things, it's the little things too that can take your breath away. So it's finding the men and women that can share that. And what is really cool about our expedition team is they are not the best in the world for everybody. They are the best for the way we explore. We look for men and women who are passionate and dedicated, approachable. There is no such thing as a silly question, right? You are there to learn, and you want people that make you feel that you're part of that community. And that is how we select our teams that travel with you. And they're available at lunch and dinner, in the field, on the ship, on the bridge. It is about traveling together and learning as a group. So we not only have our ornithologists and botanists, marine biologists, but you have our Lindblad certified photo instructor. And their job is to be there to help you get the best images you can, be it on an SLR or cell phone photography. And we also have what's called our O&M Systems Photo Locker. And the O&M Systems Photo Locker is wonderful state-of-the-art equipment. And each night, our expedition leader will announce you can go up to the lounge, and they will let you sign out a piece of equipment complimentary to field test. Doesn't replace your camera, but lets you try new equipment, new styles of photography while you're on board. It's a brilliant program, and one a lot of our guests take advantage of. We also have an underwater dive team. When you're on a ship, you're sitting on a huge living organism. If you don't understand what is beneath you in Alaska, you've missed a whole 50% of the experience. And so what we want to create that full 360-degree view of the world that you're visiting, and being able to go into somewhere like Lake Eva and pull up, and we can go on hikes and zodiac safaris, but what's beneath us are these remarkable anemones that stand on 2-meter high stems and look like fields of daisies. Well, you wouldn't know they're there unless you had a diver in the water bringing back that high definition footage to showcase with you in the lounge each evening. We have field educators, and I'll talk more about our Global Explorers program for our under 18-year-old guests. But this means that everybody aboard is learning at their level, and cultural specialists. We're in the land of so many stories. And so it's important to have people that can showcase and share those stories from their own intimate experiences in living here, working here, and being a part of the local communities. And so having them come and tell their stories is much more authentic than us trying to tell them. Our captains, I love Captain Cook. Being an Australian, it's always fun to travel with Captain Cook. But being able to go up on the bridge and knowing the bridge is open, and that is the best seat in the house. Early morning when the water is like glass, you're up there with the spotting scope with the expedition leader, and you're looking for bear on the hills. You're out there looking for whale. It is the most sublime time in Alaska, that early morning light when it's quiet and everything is coming to life. So take advantage of our open bridge policy. And then we have all these really cool tools that we use. So our ROVs, remote operated vehicles, this little guy can go down to 1,000 feet, beam back live footage from beneath our ship, under icebergs, over underneath ice flow. It just opens up a whole new dimension to the experience. And then when we do come back on board and we have samples, we can check out, are there microplastics in the waters around us? How prevalent are they? What's happening with all the other little critters? And really get the chance to understand what is in that huge living organism that we're sitting on. Of course, we have our zodiacs for water level exploration and to access the beaches and those areas that we want to visit. Honestly, for us, a dock is the most boring thing in the world. We want to go to places where we're pulling up, you're making wet landings, you're going ashore, and possibly no one's ever landed in that exact spot before. That is what true expedition is about. And so it is about finding those hidden little gems to go explore, but kayaking, paddleboarding, and knowing that all of this is included in your expedition fare. An expedition by its name is all of these fun things, so they shouldn't be an additional cost. So once you get on board, the photography program, all the tools of exploration, all of that is included, all of your evening lectures by our team where we do our recaps. Every night we come together and talk about, what did we do today? What are we doing tomorrow? What are our options? All of that is a part of an expedition. Now, one of the really important things for us in every region of the world we travel to is our commitment to sustainable products with minimal processing and provisioning for you to really taste the regions that we're visiting. It should be local, it should be fresh. We should be putting money back into the local communities by buying local and employing local. And so often we'll have boats that pull up to the back of our ship to deliver the freshest seafood. We also make sure that we are watching what is on the endangered list. So we're not serving it. So we are only using what is most prevalent, available, and freshest to share with our guests. And our head chef, head of hotels, Ana Esteves, she is the most passionate woman you'll ever meet about this region in Alaska. As you can imagine, exploring the way we do gets a pretty healthy appetite going. And as far as Anna is concerned, there is no better place in the world to satisfy a healthy appetite than in Alaska. And so our meals are truly remarkable. So let's talk about who travels with Lindblad, because sometimes this could be a little surprising to people. We have a huge solo guest following. And the reason is that unlike a traditional cruise, you are not alone. Once you come onto an expedition, you are wrapped into that community straight away. You're in the conversation, you're on the zodiacs, you're joining people for dinner. So there's never that feeling that you're kind of butting in on a conversation. So our solo guests love the way we explore and the way they are brought into that community. Couples, groups of friends, all ages, because we have multi-generational families that travel with us all the time. And one of the things that really helps our multi-gen families, and particularly in Alaska on every trip we do, is that we have our Lindblad Expeditions National Geographic Global Explorers program. So this program is designed for every young guest under the age of 18. As soon as you put their name in the system, they are flagged as a global explorer. And once they get on board, they receive this amazing field notebook. And their field notebook is full of scientific experiments, lists of wildlife that they need to go out and find, places to journal, places to list, places to illustrate. It is about helping them to create the understanding of being an explorer. They get to learn to drive Zodiacs. They get a Zodiac driving license. This is the scariest thing if you're in a Zodiac driven by a 7-year-old. That no one else does donuts like a 7-year-old in a Zodiac. We do plankton sampling. We get out the video microscopes. We take them out so they can understand how glaciers work. We do this amazing thing called an ice cream glacier. We set up chocolate chip cookies with ice cream on top, and we talk about how the terminal marine is at the front, the meridian, the lateral marine, and it allows children to visually see how a glacier pushes those rocks in front, and that's what carves out the valley. And so it's helping them understand through showing them. And who doesn't want to eat a glacier once you've used it? So that is also a kind of a key point. The parents all want a part of that as well. But it's getting out in the field and having daily activities that have them engrossed in the destination and learning about it, and things they're going to take away for years to come. So let's talk about how we explore Alaska. I said we've been there over 40 years. We have a number of different itineraries. We have our 6-day Wild Alaska programs. We have a 15-day remarkable journey to Alaska, British Columbia, and Haida Gwaii. And if you don't know Haida Gwaii, that is a cultural experience, which is just remarkable. We have a 14-day Treasures of the Inside Passage, and that's Alaska and British Columbia. We also do trips dedicated to the Great Bear rainforests. And then we have an epic 21-day, all the way from Nome, all the way over through to the top of Japan and down to Tokyo. So we've got a lot of different trips that touch Alaska, but today we actually want to spend our time talking about our 8-day Exploring Alaska's Coastal Wilderness expedition. And this is a pretty cool expedition. This is 8 days, 7 nights. It's on the National Geographic Quest or the National Geographic Venture. It starts or ends in Sitka and Juneau, so it goes either direction. And this is about really exploring the remote, but also the well-known. We have special permits for Glacier Bay National Park. One of the beauties of us going to Glacier Bay National Park is we don't have casinos that we have to close because we're going to a national park. We can go in and we can stay as long as we want. We can go in and meander in looking for otter. We can look for sheep. We can look for all the wildlife along the canyons. And then we can sit and take in that glacier and talk about it and learn about it as long as we want. And so for us, that is a really remarkable time to spend in Glacier Bay. These expeditions allow you to kayak, to hike, to be out in the Zodiacs. It's about searching for whale. You've got such abundant marine life in this region. This is where the Pacific meets the Inside Passage. So you've got those really nutrient-filled waters of Frederick Sound. We're searching for orca, humpback, sea lions. You're getting to visit the gorgeous little town of Petersburg, which is a delightful little fishing village. And then add to that Tracy Arm, Fjords Terrell Wilderness, those spectacular fords, the mist hanging in the air, being able to get out there in the Zodiacs or kayak along the edge of those amazing walls of stone, and then get into some really other cool aspects of Alaska. One of the favorite things that I always like to say to people is people go to Alaska for wildlife and they forget about the ice. We find this in other places where there's ice, like the Arctic and Antarctic as well, but ice is mesmerizing. When you get out amongst ice, you realize that that sculpture that you're looking at, that's the only day it's going to look like that. The only day it's going to have that light on it. And so as you go through these remarkable fields of ice and you're taking photos, you're the only person that has captured it at that moment from that angle and in that light. And I think that's a really cool experience to have, and people fall in love with the ice fields wherever we are. But it is about getting out there and having the chance to use all of those tools at our disposal to have the deepest exploration of place. Some of our hikes, I mean, hiking is, and often Jeff and I discussed this morning, everyone's at a different level of their fitness. We understand this is not a cookie cutter experience. So we have multiple opportunities each day. There might be a very short walk along the edge of the bay with our photographer. There may be a longer hike as we go further inland with an opportunity to get down on our hands and knees and understand the wildlife that's around us, be it big like bear or having our PhD in moss and lichen get down on the ground with us and show us that there are carnivorous plants in Alaska and tiny little orchids wedged in the grass beneath our feet. And that if you love macro photography, it is remarkable being able to hike the muskeg on the other side of Petersburg, or maybe going on a much longer hike further, maybe around Lake Eva. All of these are explained each evening. And we'll go through detail what the footing is going to be like, how far it's going to be. Will it be a slow walk or more of a fast walk? So you can choose what you want to do. And rest assured, if you wake up in the morning and you go, yeah, I'm not feeling the long hike today, you just get to change it. It's about flexibility and the opportunity to plan your own day. But it will also be things like getting out at water level with our kayaks, having the opportunity to kayak along quiet little bays, to come up along beaches with our expedition team and look for bear, look for otters in the water around us, seals. Of course, Alaska is an amazing season, but within that season, you have early season where all the young are coming to life and trees are budding and everything is bright and green. And as you work through the season towards August, and you're getting into those beautiful fall colors and the bear is starting to head back up the hills. And so depending on when you go, it's telling a different story. And so it's working with someone like Jeff and Best Cruises and the team that can help get you there at the time that allows you to see what it is that has enamored you about Alaska. So let's talk about some of the other wildlife we get the chance to see. One of my favorite things is otters. I have to use my American accent because in Australia it's an otter. And they don't have blubber. And everyone asks me what animal I'm talking about. So there's an otter on the screen. So that's an otter. But one of the really important things to us is caring for the wildlife in the places we explore. And, otters, if their coats are compromised by oil or anything in the water, these guys don't stand much of a chance. So it's helping to educate people as to why we need to keep the waters of Alaska so clean. But we go into small bays where you'll sit on your balcony or you'll be up on the bridge. And there are so many of these guys in the water, you don't know where to look. The other really remarkable thing is bald-headed eagles. When you come into a bay that's full of those huge, big green pines, and there are so many eagles in the trees, it looks like little white Christmas ornaments, because that's what you can see as they bop in amongst the trees. That is what Alaska is. It is about those quiet moments, seeing wildlife, being up close, so you can learn about them, photograph them, hear them, smell them. It is all those senses that are important. One of the cool things, of course, are Dall's sheep. Actually, approximately, I think, 25% of all wild sheep in North America live in Alaska. These guys are always perched on the top of a hill as far away from you as humanly possible. This is the one animal you're going to need that zoom lens for usually, but just spotting them in the wild, that's a big deal. And so to have our team there to support you and talk about them, talking with our conservation partners, the Alaska Whale Foundation. So learning about the amazing whale populations up here and the research they're doing. Every whale's fluke is a personal fingerprint. And when you photograph that, you can upload it to Happy Whales. And Happy Whale will let us track a whale all over the world. Where was it last summer? Where is it now? How old is this whale? And so, being able to be a citizen scientist alongside us also adds to the experience. And of course, sharing knowledge about things like bubble feeding. Bubble net feeding is a cooperative feeding method used by groups of humpback whales. It is not instinctual. This is not something that these guys grow up and it's just something they do. It is a learned response. Not every population of humpbacks knows how to bubble net feed. And so understanding that and understanding that they create, one whale goes around in a circle and creates these air bubbles, and then another whale goes down and deep sounds from beneath, and then they all come up within this wall of air and capture the food. I mean, it is remarkable to see how it works and be right there and hear it. It just blows you away. But also orcas, and we often refer to them as killer whales, but they're actually a dolphin. But seeing these guys in their pods right next to the ship, this is why we don't say on expedition we have a set schedule. We have an idea of what we're going to do today, but if we wake up in the morning and we have a pod of orca off the side of the ship, we are not moving. We are up on deck with our experts, with our captain, and we are taking in every moment of that experience. And so it's having the flexibility to manage our expeditions in a way that allows you to make the very most of every moment. So one of the other things Jeff and I had, he kind of mentioned it earlier about the size of ship. This is Juneau. It's a wonderful little town to visit. It's where we start or end our 8-day exploration. See those 2 big ships down there? Train your eyesight to the center and see the teeny little one in the middle. That's us. That's Lindblad Expeditions. That's how we explore. That's how we get into places those bigger boats cannot access. And so for us, it's about taking that remarkable little boat as far away from other people as we possibly humanly can get, so that you see the greater beauty of Alaska, which is the wildlife and the remoteness of it. But the National Geographic Quest and the National Geographic Venture, these are remarkable little ships. They were planned platforms for exploration. They're purpose-built for getting into those remote regions of the planet, right? They're built to get in those out-of-the-way places, allowing for access to the underwater. The key thing for us is building ships that allow us to go deeper. And I think that's a really important word for us, because we don't need docks, we don't need ports to exist. We can just keep moving. And the Quest and the Venture were built in 2017 and 2018. There are only 100 guests, and they have that beautiful open bridge, but the outdoor public spaces are designed to take in every moment of Alaska. This main bow region is built in tiers, 3 tiers actually. So no matter where you are with your camera, you have a line of sight to the wildlife in front of you. You're not jockeying, trying to get into somewhere to see. You can see no matter where you're standing. And that's thinking about why we're there, right? Building ships for the reason that we're exploring. The other thing is the glass. No matter where you are on any of our ships around the world, you should be able to see outside instantly. If there is something going on out there, which is why you're there, you should be able to see out. So you'll notice on all of our ships, it is about line of sight, lots of glass, lots of light, because it's what's outside that is the true experience. Now, saying that, this is our main lounge. This is where we come for recaps each evening to talk about what we've seen, what we're going to explore, what we're going to see the next day. And our expedition team stand in the middle there in what we call the circle of truth, where they share the experiences, their knowledge, their passion for the places we're visiting. And that main lounge is also where we gather for drinks and hors d'oeuvres in the evening. It's a great little place to hang out, read a book, maybe play a board game with the family. It's also where our photo lab is. So you can download images, share them with fellow guests, work with our Lindblad National Geographic certified photo instructors. Try saying that 3 times quickly, so that you can really work on your photography skills. But our dining room at the back of the ship is also all glass. And rest assured, as soon as you sit down to dinner in Alaska and get comfy, that's when the whales decide they're going to put on a show. Dinner can wait. If we see something that's remarkable, it's up and out and on decks with our team, and our chef will rework everything so when we come back, we can dine. You are not there to be stuck in the dining room when there's bubble net feeding going on or there's orcas off the starboard bow. You are there because you want to see the wildlife. And so we are very good at being nimble on our feet. This ship has remarkable other public spaces as well. You have, I ducked by our gym. I really want to show you that. So you have a spa, you have a massage therapist, you have a fully equipped fitness center, you have a mud room to leave your boots and your jackets. And if you want your camera down there, so it's ready to go in the morning and it's not going to get foggy. All of that can be down there. You have a global gallery, which is our gift store, which really focuses on the local artists and artisans of the region and helps to raise money to support them. And then you have these lovely guest rooms, connecting rooms for families. You have your balcony suites. As we said, 100 guests, 50 outside cabins. Now, 22 of those are these gorgeous little balcony suites. You also have beautiful, those floor to ceiling glass windows. And then up on the top level, you have your category 5 suites where you can have a triple. That couch can be made up into a bed each evening. By the time you come back from breakfast, it's all put away. But everything you need is there. Your bathrooms are modern. They're stocked with botanically inspired products that highlight the region. You've got your outlets, your USB outlets, your power. It is about ensuring once you get on board and you put your bags away, this is your home for the 8 days that you are in Alaska. So with that being said, Jeff, I know you've got some stuff you want to update everybody about with
Yes.
regards to our trips.
Yes. So once again, you've got me all excited about this. Once again. Anyway, so Lisa, thanks so much. As you know, Alaska is my favorite place in the whole world, and you guys can see why. So we are looking at 2025 and even 2026 for these cruises. Now, departures start in mid-May and they finish in late August. I think one dribbles into September, if I'm not mistaken. All perfect time to visit Alaska. And as you said, each period of time, there's different spectacular stuff to see. Now there are only, like, as Lisa mentioned, 2 ships, capacity of 100 guests per ship. So some of the dates for 2025 are already sold out. So if you're interested in getting Lindblad's Alaska Coastal Wilderness Cruise organized, or if you want to just get more detailed information, I recommend that you contact us as soon as possible. We have the dates when there is inventory still available. So as you can see, the itinerary that's up on the screen is the basic itinerary, but as Lisa mentioned, if there's something going on, it's going to change. The most important for me is that Glacier Bay National Park. And I have been on the big ships and seeing Glacier Bay National Park from, I guess, how many miles out, because they're concerned with safety, and there's only 2 large ships a day have licenses to get in there, and I keep seeing these tiny little ships where I want and they're up close, and it's just you have Marjorie Glacier and the Grand Pacific, and it's just it's something that really you don't want to miss, and you guys nail it with the small ships going into Glacier Bay. So anyway, if you're interested in getting organized or you want some more detailed information, I recommend you contact us as soon as possible. So you saw some prices. That just gives you a general idea of where the prices start from. And here is our contact information if you don't have it. That's our phone number, 800-576-2378, or info@bestcruises.com, or you can visit us on the web at either bestcruises.com or cruises2alaska.com. And I think it was on the slide before, Lisa, if you decide you want to go and get your trip organized by August 8th, we will have a $500 stateroom credit for you to use while you're on the ship, even though most of the things, almost all of the events and are included in. There's still some stuff that you could use, and $500 would be our thank you for getting organized. So I think, did we have any questions, Becky, that
Yes, we do have a question, and this is the perfect slide to leave that on.
Oh, excellent. Hold down.
Yeah, if you could just talk through there's a question on the differences in the price, why May is cheaper than June and August.
Well, Lisa, I can. It's just like any other vacation area. If you want to go to the Jersey Shore in May, and if you want to go to the Jersey Shore in mid-July or early August, there's differences in price. And that's just what, unless you have something to add to that, Lisa?
Yeah, I would also say, look, it is over the school holidays. So once you get towards the end of May, that's when the demand is the highest, as Jeff said. It's all based on demand, and these ships are tiny. They sell well in advance. This season is completely sold out except for a couple of cabins in August. And so 25 is already selling and 26 is opening. So for us, being so tiny, as Jeff said, we're the size of some of those emergency small boats. Sorry, we fill quite quickly. So you will find that pricing differs depending on availability and also the cabin categories that are remaining.
That is correct. So these are based on the minimal categories, and as there is, if I'm not mistaken, 5 different categories on each ship, and each one has features and which we can go over and review that. And that would be another reason for you to contact us, because we can go over what the different cabin categories are and what the different features are and the square footage, et cetera, et cetera.
And also with groups of 8 or more, Jeff, as we've talked about with multi-generational families, when you have 8 or more guests, there's a 5% discount. And children under 18 years of age also receive a $500 saving. So there are some great little things that all add up if you're thinking of taking a larger family.
Okay. Did we have, I'm looking at the...
that was the only question.
Okay. All right. Well,
wait. We do have one that just came in. Breaking news. What are the general categories? I believe what's the general categories of the staterooms.
Yeah, so category 1 and 2 are your entry level on the lower level. Those have the connecting rooms for multi-generational families. And then you have your category 3s, more forward. Category 4s are all those balcony suites. So 22 category 4s. Those are all those wonderful balcony with the step out so you can sit outside. And then the category 5 are on the top floor, and those are that will sleep 3. So
they have big picture windows.
They have huge picture windows.
Yeah, the entry level categories 1 and 2 have portholes.
Correct.
And but if you want to give us a call, I can give you a lot more detail about them.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have we're good. So Lisa, I will thank you and Becky for this terrific presentation. I will look forward to hearing from our guests, and I want to wish everybody a good evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.